to the verse-by-verse study of the book of Proverbs. We begin chapter 27 today. And this chapter especially contains a lot of rich variety of very short proverbs full of wisdom that could cover an entire sermon. A good example is verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. This verse is reminding us that tomorrow is not promised to anyone. To boast about tomorrow means that we're placing our confidence in ourselves and forgetting about God. We are not to place our confidence in our own wisdom or in our own strength or in our own wealth, but we are to place our confidence in God. We are to enjoy and focus on today. As Christ told us in the Sermon on the Mount, do not be anxious about tomorrow. Yes, we are to be diligent. We are to plan for tomorrow, prepare for tomorrow, but we are not to live in tomorrow. We're to live today. We are to take comfort and confidence in the huge blessing that God is in charge of tomorrow, not us. More profound wisdom. Let someone else praise you and not your own mouth. An outsider and not your own lips. This Hebrew word here, to praise, H-A-L-A-L, is the same word that was translated in verse 1, to boast. The word literally means to shine the light, the spotlight on yourselves, to toot your own horn. God's wisdom says it's far better to remain humble and not to attempt to shine the spotlight on yourself. There's so much more credibility and honor when others sincerely provide testimonials about you, rather than you attempting to pridefully sell yourself. Also, pridefully praising yourself or ourself is inviting a painful fall. Next, we have a general observation. Stone is heavy and sand a burden, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. The author is again warning us that doing business with a fool, that is someone that rejects God and rejects God's core values, will become a painful burden. This term, a fool's provocation, means someone that makes bad decisions, that influences us. Someone that is selfish, greedy, engaged in unfair dealings. Who was a good example of such a person in Scripture? Nabal. Recall the foolish, prideful, arrogant husband of the wise wife, Abigail. She bore the burden of solving his many problems that he created. Nabal was described as careless, which means to be rude, mean-spirited, a fool, which was the opposite of wise Abigail. Next, anger is cruel and fury overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? The author is pointing out that uncontrollable emotions of anger and fury are damaging to both ourselves and to others. But it warns that the emotion of jealousy is even more destructive because it rots from the inside out. The first murder in Scripture, in the book of Genesis, of course, was motivated by the senseless jealousy of Cain towards his brother Abel. Next, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Here, a rebuke is referring to someone that cares about us and is giving unsolicited, needed wise counsel about an area within our life that needs correction for our own good. The author is saying, yes, these words may be uncomfortable, but none of us really want to hear that we're not perfect, right? But the author is encouraging us to appreciate those words, to appreciate that friend, because it's better, more valuable than words spoken of love that are never spoken. Verse 6 continues with the same theme of tough love and friendship. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Other translations that can assist in understanding, Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. Or, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. A true friend will not hold back the truth. They will attempt to find the right time and speak the needed truth in love with a gentle kindness. And you and I are to understand that that truth is so much better than false flattery from those that wish to manipulate us. Next, another observation of human nature. One who is full loathes honey from the comb, but to the hungry even what is bitter tastes sweet. This is a warning to those that have a lot, that we are to beware of losing your appreciation for your blessings, and also, more importantly, losing your appreciation, failing to appreciate the godly source of those blessings. Like a bird that flees its nest is anyone who flees from home. The New King James Version gives a more literal translation. Like a bird that wanders from its nest is a man who wanders from his place. His place. God has a place, a path, a purpose for everyone, each of us. And when we sometimes stray from that path, that is when our troubles begin. The next two verses again speak about the blessings of a true friend. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Do not forsake your friend or a friend of your family, and do not go to your relative's house when disaster strikes you. Better a neighbor nearby than a relative far away. This verse, the first part of this verse is affirming that a trusted friend is more valuable than the precious fragrant oil or expensive incense, both of which was highly prized possessions during this time. The second part of these verses is reminding us to appreciate and not forsake our friends, including those that have been a loyal friend of our family. The last part is more practical advice. It's saying in times of need, a nearby friend is more valuable even than a family member that is physically or perhaps relationship-wise far away. Also, we should not forget and appreciate that God gives us all kinds of friends. But indeed, our greatest and most loyal friend is Christ. Next, the author inserts a mother and father's plea. Be wise, my son, and bring joy to my heart. Then I can answer anyone who treats me with contempt, meaning insults. A loving parent, finds tremendous joy and peace when their child chooses to walk in wisdom. With that knowledge, that gives that parent security, hope, and honor. Even when their world might be suffering some setbacks, that gives them that sense of peace. Next, in verse 12, it gives us an example of what that wisdom, walking in wisdom, looks like for that child. The prudent or wise see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Rash, thoughtless, foolish, selfish behavior brings pain to the person, but also to the person that cares about that person. Next, another example of wisdom and a repeat verse. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. Hold it in pledge if it is done for an outsider. Proverbs repeatedly warns against doing business with someone that we do not know or investing into something we do not understand. The practical wisdom is if we're foolish enough to do that, at least take some collateral. The last bit of wisdom for today is, again, some practical wisdom. If anyone loudly blesses their neighbor early in the morning, it will be taken as a curse. The point is, even a well-meaning blessing, if it's given or shared at the wrong time, can be viewed as insensitive. Here we have someone shouting in their neighbor's window, perhaps at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., saying, "Good morning, have a blessed day." That's probably not likely going to be received very well. We shall finish up chapter 27 next week. Until then, may God bless you and bless your family with both his grace and his peace. Aloha.